Hello, welcome to Enlightened Empaths with Samantha and Denise. We're very happy to welcome you all back. This week we are featuring our monthly Enlightened Entrepreneur feature, and Denise is going to introduce our exciting new guest.
I'm very, very pleased to be able to introduce you all to Pat McManus. Pat is a singer-songwriter based in New York City. He uses songwriting to show his unique perspective on the way he sees this world. As he quotes, "Life is meant to be lived. It doesn't make much sense to just exist. Finding who you are and why you're here are the keys to living a magical life." His songs reflect some of the universal challenges that we face and the ultimate key of following your dreams. You can find Pat on Instagram.com, Pat McManus Music, also at patmcmanusmusic.org and SoundCloud/Pat McManus. Welcome, Pat.
Thank you so much. I'm really excited to do this.
So first we have to mention, because we were just talking before we hit record, how much we love your accent. So tell everybody where you're from.
So I'm from Boston, Massachusetts, a suburb up in the North Shore called Woburn, but I say Woburn, so it comes out in basically everything I say, and, it's just, that's who I am.
I love it. I grew up for 5 years. I lived in Duxbury.
Nice.
Are you familiar with that area? It's right by Sandwich. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I love Massachusetts, and I love the Boston accent. It's the best.
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate someone's appreciation towards that.
Well, I have to jump in and say you pronounced it the right way, because being from Gloucester, I have to say Wubin's the way you're supposed to say
it. That's it. Exactly. Perfect.
So now that we got that out of the way, because we just had to say that, we love your accent. When you are doing your music, you don't hear your accent. You just hear this beautiful energy of purity and just honesty come through. And so I'd love for you to share with people just a little bit about your background and how you came to embrace music the way you have.
Well, I really appreciate that. I grew up, my mom and dad, no one in the family was musical, but I would ask them nonstop to get me a guitar, literally constantly. And my dad swears that it all started, I played hockey at a very young age, and when I used to score, I played guitar on my hockey stick. And ever since then, I wouldn't stop asking them to get a guitar. And finally they did, and I started taking lessons at about 5.5 years old. And it was just something, I don't know why, it was something that excited me from a very, very early age.
Can I interrupt? So before kindergarten, you were begging for a guitar?
Yeah, nonstop. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and they got me.
So you knew right away this was your path.
Yeah, and it started with the instrument, and it moved into I discovered Elvis Presley, and I started singing Hound Dog. I'll never forget the first day that the singing and the guitar came together. It was incredible, and I was 8 years old. And I wrote my first song around 12. And that's when, it was like, okay, I got the instrument, and then I found the voice, and then I learned how to kind of put the two together and create something for people. And it's just what I've been following ever since.
Wow, that is amazing that you knew that early on and stayed committed to it. I think staying committed to learning a musical instrument like the guitar is such a feat, but then to add writing your own music and singing as well at the tender age of 12.
I know.
Were your parents always supportive of you pursuing this as a career?
Yeah, they're beyond incredible. They're the hardest working people in the world, and they always just wanted me to be happy. And they knew that this was my happiness. And no matter what, my dad was my roadie. He took me to all the shows and bought me all the wires and everything that I needed. And my mom was always there giving her support. And they were just incredible. And to this day, they still are.
Wow. Are they musical?
No, actually, no one. My mother's father was, I guess, a really good singer. And my grandfather, my dad's father, was a traveling minstrel. So it's in the family a little bit, but I never met my mother's father, but I guess he had a beautiful voice. So, but instrument wise, not that I know of, no.
A traveling minstrel? Are you from Ireland?
My family is. So his father, I think it was his father that came over, and so yeah, so they're
That's
right from Ireland. Yeah.
that's really, really neat. Now, did your parents play music all the time in the house growing up?
Yes, yeah. My mom always used to tell me she'd put headphones on her belly when she was pregnant with me, and I'd roll around. It'd be
That's neat.
Neil Young, Eric Clapton, Fleetwood Mac, Bob Dylan. All the old Bob Seger. And whenever I hear any of it, like they're my influences and my inspiration comes directly from that time.
That's fantastic, especially considering how young you still are.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it's there's a lot of soul. There's a lot of I don't know. It's just amazing listening to something that's timeless. Whereas a lot of music today, it's different that it fades out. And I don't know if it's because of the time we live in, but it's with like 2 weeks to a month, it's gone. And I can listen to a Bob Dylan song 1,000 times, and it feels like I just heard it for the first time. So that's incredible to me.
But don't you think part of that, Pat, is the fact that there's substance to those
Yeah.
songs?
Yeah.
And there's a story, there's a purpose, there's a tie to the unity of people. Quite a while ago, I wrote a blog post on like what the latest songs are, and I listened to the lyrics, and I was so disgusted because it didn't say anything.
Right.
And I was
Right.
talking to my son who plays music, and I said, we need more singer-songwriters because what we're doing now isn't anything that will perpetuate for future generations. So it's exactly what you're saying. It doesn't connect. And with your lyrics, one of the songs, if you don't mind me jumping right in with one of your lyrics, is that your All These People song, and you wrote the lyrics, the possibilities are endless if we could all carry our weight and not the weight of the world. And I read that and I was like, I'm going to be very blunt. Holy shit, he gets it. Because that's what we need. We need people to feel more united and together through music.
Yeah,
because it's such a healing. It's healing.
It is, because when you have someone that is in complete alignment with who they are and they're singing in front of 60, 50,000 people, differences disappear. And if the song has substance, it's just I don't know. There's something more to it, and that's definitely that's what I want to accomplish for sure.
I agree. I read Keith Richards' biography. If you guys haven't read it, it's really a good read. And there's this one passage in the book where he talks about playing live music. I think it was the first time they played Madison Square Garden. And he writes so beautifully about how it's the closest he'll ever come to heaven.
Yeah.
Just doing what he loves and connecting with the audience and feeling the energy that's flowing through everyone.
Yeah, I've been there a few times just in my visualizations, and sometimes when I'm playing, all the time I'm playing, I'm in my bedroom, and I'm really at Madison Square Garden or one of the big places, and it's crazy how deep it gets. But I can see the crowd, I can hear the crowd, I can feel what I'm doing. It's insane, but to really experience it must just be there's no words for it. That's incredible.
When is the first time you played for a live audience? It sounds like your dad was taking you around when you were young.
Yeah. I was playing at different road races in different events like that when I was, 13, 14, probably even younger. But I used to play in the bars all the way up. I was playing 4 hours a night by myself, probably 16, 17, and just doing that for a long time. And then I went to Berkeley, which was a big accomplishment for me to get. That was my first real, like I was noticed by people that they did this for a living, So I don't know if you want to get into that a little bit, but that's one thing.
Yeah, isn't that like the Juilliard school? I mean, isn't Berkeley on par with that, if not better?
It's right up there with all those, the really the musically inclined. It's just incredible walking through there and seeing all the talent. And I commuted, which was something that it was a little challenging at first, but once I got in the swing of it, it was okay. But I was just blown away at how incredibly gifted other people are to be that young and to see them, it's incredible. So you can't help but get better. You know what I mean?
What was that audition process like?
I remember I had to sight read. I had to, what was it? A sight reading test, a prepared piece, and then like an interview. That was basically who I am, what I wanted to accomplish, and it was incredible.
Going to Harvard.
Thank you. It was wonderful. I got my bachelor's in songwriting. It was a challenging 4.5 years of my life, but I got through it, and it's just.
Well, and I bet the connections you made are priceless.
Yes. Yeah. A lot of amazing people and teachers that I met, for sure.
I'll let you jump in, Denise. I feel like I'm taking over.
No, I was, and I mean this with absolute respect, is that, and Berkeley is amazing, and I've known several people who have gone there, students who have gone there, and what I love, Pat, is you don't have the ego that often goes with amazing talent, and that's not to the detriment of anyone you may have been in school with, but I've noticed that you're coming from a place of purity with this and a connection to divine. And my question is, was that a real strong delineating feature at school of people who are there because they can't not play music and people who are there from a more ego-based place?
Yeah, I think at Berkeley, it was, you might have had your ego on the side, but you're not getting in there unless you really, you're gifted at whether it be songwriting or playing your instrument or your voice, whatever it was. So I saw some, of course, just like everything else, a lot of egos and stuff like that. But at the same time, they all had talent. You know what I mean? There was
Right.
that basis of talent. But yeah, that definitely existed. But I think the whole thing about Berkeley too, I was going through a lot of. This is where my whole spiritual explosion happened. And so I was at Berkeley, and I was experiencing a lot of anxiety, depression, panic attacks that, I'd have to call 911. It was insane. And it was right around 19, 20, 21. And I just didn't know what the hell was going on with me. It was like, it was just crazy. And so I talked to my parents.
Well, for people who don't know what that's like, can you explain that? It's like a heart attack, isn't it? When you have that panic attack.
Yeah, you think you're gonna die. You think the best description I have is a sense of doom, in that it's all gonna be over. And when there's no apparent danger, you're just hyperventilating, and once that happens, you start to either black out or your ears ring, or just crazy, and you faint. But it was happening very, very often, and enough to be, concerned. A lot of people were concerned. They were, what's going on? And the health anxiety I had about always thinking something was wrong with me and all this stuff. And so, and I kept that in because I was embarrassed. I'd be like sheltered for 5 days, and then on the weekends I'd head out with my friends and stuff like that. But it was really, really intense. And so the doctors they were talking about anxiety medication and all this stuff. And my mom said, have you heard of that? You have a cousin that's a Reiki master. I had no clue what Reiki was, but I was just so open to it because at a young age, I was reading Wayne Dyer and, a lot of self-help books. I was just so interested in them. And so my cousin was a Reiki master, and that's when things exploded.
Tell us about the first time you experienced Reiki. Because in my experience, I'm a Reiki master as well, and when people come to me, they don't even know what Reiki is, and they don't even know what to expect. And so that first experience is always so liberating in many ways. Can you talk about your first experience? Did you know what it was? Did you know what you were getting into?
No, I knew I was just very open. I read some stuff about it, and I've always been open. I'm not going to shut down an idea because it's not scientifically, believed or anything like that. And so when I heard my cousin did it for 30 something years. I was just like, all right. And the other alternative was to go on anxiety medication. And I was like, no, it's not happening. So the first time I was on the table, I had this popping sensation all over my body, and just saw amazing waves of purple colors, and it was incredible. And she got some messages. She's incredible, my cousin Lainey, and she was getting some messages from my guides. It was just absolutely like I don't know. I don't have words to describe it. It was incredible.
Can you give her a shout out? Like, does she
yeah,
have a
my
website?
cousin. Yeah, she I don't think she has her website, but she's just she's incredible. I know that she practices on the side, but her name's Elaine Magliozzi, and she lives in Townsend. And so I'll try and get you guys her info. But she's just
that'd be great.
Yeah.
We have a lot of listeners in Massachusetts.
Oh, well, she is so gifted. It's her purpose for sure. No question about it. She's a true light worker. And I just, it woke me up to who I truly was. I was done trying to fit in with the other side, and I could finally be me. And it was just incredible. And it only helped my music.
Did you continue the Reiki? Was it that one time?
Yeah, I continued. And through that, she said, you should start to meditate. And I had meditated a couple of times previous, but not really with any structure or anything like that. And once she told me with some other just incredible things that she got information, like I was suffering from really bad acne, and it was brutal. And she called me one night and she said, I was just meditating, and I got a message from your guide saying that you're not showing your true face to the world, and that's why your acne's there. And it just resonated.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it was so deep, and it's like it I don't know. I can't even believe how magical it all was, really, because once I started to wake up to who I truly was, it went away. It's incredible.
Did you feel? I mean this with all love and respect, because I think you're amazing. But I keep getting an image of like Matt Damon at MIT.
Yeah. Like
did you? Go ahead.
No, you say it. Did I what?
I just feel like, you're just this very down to earth. Well, I shouldn't say that. Well, you're very down to earth, but you're also this very elevated old soul. And then you're thrown into this Berkeley universe.
Oh yeah.
I wonder if that was a part of the anxiety and all
of
that.
Yeah, and through the middle there, I kind of wanted to leave Berkeley, honestly. But I'm so happy I stuck it out, because I wanted to leave and just go start the dream. I love John Mayer, and he did the same type of thing. So I was like, I want to do that, but I'm so happy I stayed, because I wouldn't have been ready. I needed Berkeley to really go through the dark stuff. That was a big part of it, for sure.
Well, don't you think that's one of the biggest lessons we can learn is how to be a square peg in a round hole and still be there and not avoid the uncomfortableness?
Yeah, you have to face it. Life is I really believe in my own opinion that life is a reflection. It is. And so what you see on the outside is what's happening internally. And so if you don't deal with the internal, the external will never change. It can't. So you have to face whatever is inside if you want certain things to happen outside. It's the only way.
Do you feel you did that primarily through meditation?
Yeah, so meditation, about the panic attacks, after the first few Reiki sessions, they started to disappear completely. And the more I meditated, the more I just overcame a lot of things. And I was raising my vibration, really. It was all hand in hand. And the panic attacks completely left. Anxiety left after about a year or so, and it's it has never come back.
Which is
sounds
fabulous.
like you had a Kundalini awakening.
It was. I might have. I've read about Kundalini, but it was really intense for a while, and it subsided.
Do you feel that you get inspiration and ideas for your songwriting and your music from meditation, or do you feel that it's downloaded to you? Like, what's your process for that?
For me, I feel like it's downloaded. I really do. I feel that my physical mind isn't writing a song in 10 minutes. You know, it's receiving the messages, but it's not the one that's, you know, it can't, I just don't think it can be, because it's like, it's not only lyrics that are coming, it's the melodies and it's the chord structures and it's everything at once. And it's like, no, let's pause here. It's just so much information at once that it could hit at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. It could hit at, you know, I've missed tests before because of it. Like, I've missed some things. And once that inspiration comes, I'm not leaving that notebook and pen. It's just not happening. So I think it's downloaded, you know?
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting if you look on your Instagram page, especially, like the creativity and the music, it really feels like you're processing emotions, but you're also sharing that to help other people process theirs. And when you say you download that, the more I do this work, which I love, and the more we connect with each other, it just becomes more and more apparent that we're tapping into a collective.
Yeah.
And your message really, truly, some of the things, and I played a lot of them earlier just so that I could have a feel for this, but also I like your music.
Thank you.
But I can feel it in my heart chakra. And when I feel that with music or with art or with, you know, it doesn't matter what someone's creativity is, but when they're coming from a place of truth, it can't be replicated. And that's what I'm getting from your music and your lyrics. And I think that because the blunt version is you get the hell out of the way and let it come through.
Yeah.
But it's fun to watch. Now, do you have a preference for, like when you play blues, your energy is completely different than when you're playing your own work. I mean, it's so fun to watch you shift gears with that.
Thank you.
So do you have a preference? Do you have a...
Yeah, blues is something that is, it's just in my soul. It's something that I've always resonated with fully. I incorporate it here and there in my music, but it's just something that, I don't know, I love it so much. And, you know, I don't know, there's an in-between, you know what I mean? Like, I can't be a blues guitar player. That's not what I want to do, but the love I have for that style of music is just beyond description.
Because it truly does touch your soul.
Yeah, it does.
And that's, you know, when you go to like a blues festival and the variety of people that are in the audience, you never talk about a broad demographic. You have everybody at a blues festival. And
Absolutely.
I think it touches everybody's soul. And I'm also seeing that your work isn't specifically geared towards one demographic, and it's not, which is huge right now because you are trying to reach so many people.
Yeah, my music is my goal in this life is to inspire others to find their inspiration so they can inspire others to do the same. It really is. This is the whole thing. It's like, if you have a dream or if something excites you and you're skeptical or you're hesitant on following that, you're going against who you are, because that excitement is the gateway to who you are. That's your true higher self. And so there's no way, like, it just has to work. It might be difficult, it might be challenging, and it will be challenging. And that's life. But if you don't face the challenges, you're never going to grow. And so why not go through some challenging times and come out on top and be the most, happiest person in the world? And that's how this world's going to change, is when more people find their dharma, more people find who they are. And that's just following your excitement. No matter what, you have to. Otherwise, you're not going to be happy.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
I think that comes across. Yeah, and I think that comes across in your music, in your lyrics, and on your website. I mean, it's all right there, which is beautiful. We're so excited to have a man on our show. Because
That's awesome.
so many people hear, empath, and they think it's, I don't know, like a feminine thing to be connected to your intuition and your emotions. Can you talk to that idea of being a man, being a guy's guy, and still being connected to your intuition?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, for me, that I feel like there's the masculine and the feminine within everything. And you can tune into that. You don't have to be a man's man or anything like that. No matter what, you have the potential within you to tap into who you truly are. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I honestly haven't really looked at it like that, but it's something I've always been into as a guy. I always just wanted to find something. There had to be something more. I always wanted to find what else there was to this life, because I don't know. I always knew that the table that I touch with my hands, it appears to be solid, right? But that table, the molecules, everything in there is vibrating roughly at the speed of light. So there's nothing solid about it. It's all an illusion, right? So the examples are endless in this universe of that. And so you don't have to be a guy or a woman to understand that this big illusion is around. I don't know if I'm making sense, but it's just
perfect sense.
Yeah, I don't know about the.
The other piece, Pat, and I've said this before in other shows, and I say this to a lot of people. I really, truly believe you're in your late 20s, yes?
Yes, yeah, 26.
Okay, and I really feel like your generation you're wired differently. You're here to help with this change that we're all going through. This is go time, and part of that, you just nailed it a few minutes ago when you said raising your vibration. And the more of us that can raise our vibration and pretty much the same frequency, that sends out healing, that sends out positivity. And I truly have so much faith in younger, people under 30. You're coming at it from a different perspective. And even the way you mentioned that we have the feminine and we have the masculine, there's that the fluidity of that is what is fostering this change that we're walking into now, and it's absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm really excited about it.
Me too. Absolutely. I think that we have the choice. We can shift into the earth that is one and together. I really believe that. Or we can shift the other way, and it's up to us. This is a very important time in the history of our world, and the more we find who we are, the more everything will lift. Everything will, and yeah, we'll see some miracles happen. Even though, like, every day there's a miracle that happens. I eat a strawberry and it becomes me. I mean, come on. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable. We're on a rock hurling through space at thousands of miles an hour. It's just one big miraculous thing.
It truly is.
You mentioned this gateway experience, and I almost feel like your music allows for a gateway for your audience. How do you feel that you connect with your audience when you're playing live? Do you feel that gateway, that portal, that opening?
Yeah, well, when I play live, it's it's like I'm on autopilot. It's something just flowing through me, and something takes over, and I just go. There's no place in this world I'd rather be than the stage. That's the number one spot. And I've always felt
that's where you're happiest.
That's the most happiest feeling I could ever experience. And the most I've played in front of is probably, probably 50 to 100 people, but that alone has just been incredible. So it's amazing.
You mentioned John Mayer. Who are the other contemporary writers and singers that you admire and would like to play with someday?
I respect, like, Ed Sheeran. I really do respect that guy. He is, he is very, very talented. I'd love to jam with him. But yeah, John's incredible. I'm not too into the current day. Like, it's sad. I'm sure there's a lot of amazing music out there. I just, I'm living in like the 60s and the 70s, honestly. I really am. when it comes to that.
No,
But
that's
yeah.
great. You're going to bring that back and make it and add your own spin to it. I love it. I read an interesting article about Ed Sheeran where he said when he gets married and has children, he might retire from music so he can focus on his family. And I thought, I wonder if you could ever retire from something you're so gifted and talented at. I mean, don't you see yourself doing this when you're 90?
Yeah, as long as my voice and, everything holds up, absolutely. I think that if you're touring a few hundred dates a year, I think that you need a break, especially if you have a family and all that. I think he needs a break for his own mental clarity. I mean, it must be crazy how much he goes through, and yeah, it's just crazy.
I agree. I think we ask too much of our artist. I think that's why we see so many tragic stories with some of the most famous ones.
Yeah.
Because we just ask way too much from them. Now, do you still meditate on it? Like, do you meditate daily, weekly?
Yeah, I meditate twice a day, right in the morning.
Twice a day?
Yeah, I do. I meditate in the morning and at night, and sometimes I miss the evening meditation or something if I'm, if I have something going on. But yeah, I really try and meditate every single morning to get the day off on the right foot, because I notice if I don't, I do notice some things that happen, just, whether it be me out of alignment with, little anger, edgy, whatever it is. But once I meditate, it really sets the tone for the day. It's incredible.
That's impressive. Denise, do you meditate twice a day? I do not. Do you?
Well, I don't call it formal meditation, but I do. I think my writing in the morning is a form of meditation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
And that's sacred. That's sacred time that I don't step away from. That's really strong coffee and the pen very first thing in the morning. And at night before I go to sleep, I do kind of a review and give thanks. And it's not really a meditation. I do have the timer on my phone now, the meditation timer, that I really want to start using, but I haven't yet.
Yeah, I meditate once a day, and that's a stretch. Like, I have to remind myself, and sometimes I have to make myself sit down, but twice a day would be dreamy. What's your meditation process like?
Usually I'll just actually right now, so I'm not sure what mudra this is, but I take my thumb and my index finger and my middle finger, I put them together, and the ring finger and the pinky finger just kind of, they just chill out. And I do that with both hands, and I notice that my mind is very quiet. It takes the energy in a different way. So even if I try to think a thought, it's not coming. And I do direct it to that mudra. It's just something that I do. But I'll meditate for about 20 minutes or so in the morning, and then at night about 20 to 30. It depends. Sometimes longer. Yeah, and I just focus on my breath. It's like when you hold a cork underwater and you release it, it floats. And that's Abraham Hicks. They talk about that. And so that's what we do with our vibration. We resist all day, and then once we kind of find that space where we can let go of our thoughts and let go of all the crazy stuff going on, we can rise back up, and that's when inspiration comes, really.
You so well said. You explained that beautifully. You know what I love about your story almost the most is that you never had a plan B.
No. Yeah, no, that's non-existent. Absolutely. Yeah.
And nobody made you have a plan B. Like,
no,
your parents were never like, get that finance degree, Pat.
No, that's what I mean when I say they're just the two most incredible people I've ever met, because they always just, no matter what, it's just incredible. It's really, I'm blessed to have them. I feel like I chose them pre-birth, but if I did choose them pre-birth, I'm proud of myself for picking those.
You
two.
did a good job. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Do you
incredible.
have siblings?
I have one older brother, and that's it. But
now, you said you're the only musical one. Is he creative at all?
Yeah, he's incredible. He can fix an engine on a car. He's just incredible when it comes to that. He's like my dad. My dad's a carpenter, but he can do plumbing, electrical, whatever it is, he'll fix it. So my brother and him are very similar, and my mom's incredible. She's very empathic. She's incredible when it comes to, she's highly sensitive.
So she encouraged you to be open spiritually as well as pursue your passion for music.
Yeah,
I love your parents.
Yeah, they're amazing.
I'm thinking that it's the same setup as with my boys, is that my older son is, he can rip anything apart, put it together, very linear, sequential. And I was talking to him earlier tonight, and we were talking about intuition, and his intuition and his creativity goes into machines and how things work and how do they work better. And from what you're saying, that's kind of how your brother is wired.
Yeah, he's so wired like that. He's really incredible. He can fix anything,
Because don't you feel like it's using the same intuitive gift just in a different direction?
Absolutely. I think anything like that, anything that is a passion of someone, I think
exactly.
It's coming from that creative source of, what's out there. It's incredible. Yeah.
Also, you've mentioned that you love being on the stage, you love, that thing, but you can't not play music. Like, even if you were alone in the room, you're going to play music.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that. I just, because it's two things is, that's a kind of a key for a lot of, if anyone's listening and they're saying, well, he knew when he was 5 years old, this is what he wanted to do. But for a lot of us, if you're having some conflict about, well, what do I want to do? I don't know what my passion is. Sometimes going back to that childhood stuff can open the door for you.
Because from 5 to 10, I feel that the physical mind isn't working when it comes to your passion. I feel that from 5 to 10 years old, I read this somewhere. It's source talking through you. So your inspirations around that age, whatever you really tend to, this is great, whatever it is. That's where you got to look. If you're having a tricky time right now discovering that, kind of try and flip back, to that reality when you were a little kid, because that's what this whole thing's about, being that, innocent kid that just having fun. This is a playground, it really is. And it's not meant to be stressful. It's not meant to be all this stuff.
That's so true. I read that we cycle through our chakras. So like age 0 to 7 is root chakra, where we're learning about our family and safety and our roots and who we are. And then ages like 8 to 15 are the sacral chakra years, where we're really learning about our creativity and our body and, what feels right for us and what feels wrong for us. And then we move into solar plexus and our empowerment in our late teens and 20s and, all the way up to age 49, and then it starts over again.
Yeah.
And that makes sense with what you're saying with those ages.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, because I know a lot of people that, are older and younger still have no clue why they're on this planet. And that's okay. It really is. I think it's part of your journey to be at wherever you are. And then, at any second it could come, and it's in your excitement. That's the code. Whatever.
See, I think a lot of people don't know why they're here because of that message your cousin gave you, where she said, you're not showing your real face to the world. I think so many of us choose to go through much of our life showing our mask to the world because we're afraid to show our real self. And I just think it's such a gift that you were able to never even need to create that mask, really.
Yeah, I know. I think I put the mask on a bit in high school, and early in college, just going through the normal stuff that, kids go through with friends and friend groups and doing this and that, but always listened to who like drinking wise. I didn't drink. I was never a fan of alcohol. And so that was something that I just wouldn't do. But I remember having an issue, a tough time when I was like 17, 18, when it was a thing. And so I used to, maybe fake it or something like that, just stupid, but it was a part of growing, really. You have to go through those things, and the mask finally came off, and here I am.
You talked about one of my other favorite things you've said so far is when I mentioned Madison Square Garden, and you said you've been there in your visualizations. And I love that statement. Like, I've been there, I've been on that stage. Talk about your visualization technique and like trying to help people who are trying to incorporate visualizing into their manifesting goals? How does that look in your life?
Yeah, so for me, I truly feel that if you really want to manifest something, you have to feel it first. You have to believe it first, and you have to see it as much as possible so you can line up with that reality. Wherever you are right now, you're set to a certain frequency. You're set to a certain wavelength. And so let's say it's like a radio, you're at 95.7 and your dreams at 105.8. You have to shift through those realities to get there, and one way to do that is by visualization and lining yourself up with that reality that already exists. This might be a little crazy, but I truly feel that time is an illusion, in that everything exists all at once simultaneously, and it's up to us to shift to whatever reality we intend to shift to in order to live our dreams. And so all you do is you basically call it to you by aligning with it through visualization and just through being your true self.
You're not sounding crazy. You're in good company.
Yeah, that's good.
And
I know.
luckily, quantum physics is proving all of that to be true.
They are.
I mean, those studies where, the observer changes the outcome.
Right.
It's fascinating. It's all being proven that these old quote unquote new age techniques are actually have a scientific base.
It's like the electron. They're just talking about, I was reading something about the electron and how it has we used to think of it as a single dot, right? But it's a cloud of potential. So there's no dot at all. It's just a cloud of potential is what the electron really is. And so when you think of it like that, it's just insane that there's infinite potentials. The same way, I really feel that there's infinite versions of you, and you can shift to whatever the hell one you want to shift to. It's all up to you. Mm-hmm. It's all there. But you're the one that's in the driver's seat.
Right, and you just have to go there in the mind first. This happened before, I think before you were born, but I remember watching American Bandstand with Dick Clark. Do you remember that, Denise?
Uh-huh.
And there is this, so don't judge me, because my music taste is all over the place. Like, I love all music. But when I was in middle school, I loved Madonna. And she premiered on American's Bandstand, and I just remember like hovering around the TV to watch her, and I loved her plastic bracelets. And Dick Clark said to her, "Okay, Madonna, what do you want to do with your life?" And she said, "Rule the world."
Yeah.
And I think she definitely did rule the music world for a time there. But I would just love to ask you that same question. I don't feel that you would ever answer that question in that vein at all. But what is your goal with your life and with your music in particular?
I just want to inspire others to find their truth, and to follow their excitement, because there's a thing called synchronicity that is the most important thing I've ever experienced. And it's, in my opinion, the language of the universe. And things happen all the time that are, if you're aware of them, you just have to be consciously aware of things that are going on, whether it be a road sign that tells you to do this, or it's just incredible. Synchronicity is I could share some examples if you'd like, but.
Oh, please do. We love synchronicity stories.
Yeah. Like, for example, I was living in Los Angeles after Berkeley. So I was 24 when I moved there, and I was on my buddy's couch, and I lived there for 5 months, and I was working at a little deli in the Laurel Canyon Country Store, and me and my good friend got in a big fight. So, he told me, "Get out of here, whatever, pack your bags, go home, back to Boston." I was like, "No way." And so I used to keep my bags in the basement of the store, and I would just shuffle around Laurel Canyon from floor to floor for about 3 weeks. Through that time, I kept asking, like, is this meant to be? Or I would always see signs about New York. I'd be hiking in the Santa Monica Mountains, and there would be a guy walk by me with a Brooklyn, New York shirt on. Just endless stuff about New York. And so I was, after like the 50th time, I headed back home, and I planned on moving to New York. And about 10 months before I moved to Los Angeles. My cousin Lainey told me to look for the Piano Man. I don't know what the hell that meant. She just kept saying, look for the Piano Man. They're telling me Piano Man. And so I was all right, so when I moved to LA, I was looking for the Piano Man nonstop. I was like, all right, this kid plays the piano. Is he it? Da, da, da. And then over time, I forgot about it. My friend said, when I was looking for a place in Brooklyn, she said, I have a friend that I'd really like you to meet. He's into Reiki, he's into music and all this stuff. And I was like, that's incredible. And so the second I met him, I was at the door and he was standing at the top of the stairs. He goes, dude, I'm the Piano Man. And I was just like, you got to be kidding me. And so I got on the train right after that. And I said, universe, I always talk to the universe. I said, universe, please give me a sign if he's really the Piano Man. And I looked to the left and there was a lady reading a book that said Paolo, and that's his name. Instantaneous confirmation that
wow.
You know what I mean? And so like stuff like that, you just can't fight it. And so New York, for whatever reason's the spot for me right now. And so much stuff like that. And that's why I am who I am, because I've had real experiences with this stuff.
That's an incredible story. And I have to say, moving from floor to floor sounds like a new song title.
I know. Yeah, it was a crazy experience, but
what do you feel about the power of music to move people and to transcend time?
I think music is definitely it can resonate with everyone because it's just pure vibration. Like today, a lot of artists are just making it to make a quick buck. And I get it. That's cool, but that's not where the soul lies. That's not where it is. It's in your truth. So when you express your truth through music, it just carries. It carries and carries, and the right audience will find you and you'll find them. So
I agree. I think music is the only viable time machine we have right now.
Yeah, I agree.
You can hear a song and it takes you right back to the memory associated with it. It's such a powerful, and through the ages, different religions have used music to get people into a meditative state or to get them heightened up for their vibrations to lift. And so I think it's so great that you're combining, your intuition, your spirituality with your incredible talent. And then with this goal of not making a quick buck, of not ruling the world, but of sharing your message of truth and authenticity.
Yeah. I just want to reach as many people as I possibly can before I switch cars. That's it.
Do you find a lot of like-minded people your age, or do you feel that you're the exception?
No, I think a lot of, especially with YouTube and the internet, it's incredible the information that you can find. And a lot of people are really waking up to who they are. It's just, it's something that's happening worldwide. If it's part of your journey, you'll find the information. You just have to be open. You never know when your life's going to change. It could be right now, through a book, through a video, through whatever it is, and you just have to stay open. And open simply means don't shut something down because it sounds crazy. Just be open to it. That's all.
Have you ever had a paranormal experience while you've been writing or meditating for your music?
Not really. I've had some incredible dreams with John Lennon, where I've sat down across from him and we've discussed songs. I feel that the dream.
Whoa, wait, that's really cool. Tell us more about that.
John has been in a few of my dreams, and I've always looked up to him. And one of them, I was playing a song, and then he started playing Imagine. Conversations we've had, I have them written down in my journal, but he's told me to really just to stay true to who I am. And I go up to the Dakota all the time up on 72nd Street, and I just look up at it, and that's where he used to live, and that's where he got shot and died. A lot of times there's a hawk that flies overhead, and I just get the chills. It's incredible. I have a real connection with him. Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense that he would be up there guiding young musicians like yourself? That really resonates as truth to me.
Yeah, I could totally see it. He was that type of person. He was, if you wanted to follow, look at someone following their truth. Oh my gosh. he told it like it was, and he just didn't care, and he did what he felt was right.
What song that you've written speaks the most to who you are and the message you're sharing? I know it's an
right
awful
now,
question to say what's your favorite, but
no, I think right now it's a song I wrote called All These People. I wrote it in 7 minutes. It just flew out. It was one of those songs that just happened. And those are the songs that you really, I don't know, it comes right out. But the words in that song are they're what I want to get across to people right now. It's just that, like Denise was saying earlier, the TV's off, stop watching the news, right now.
Yep.
Right now, because it's like nothing but fear-based. They'll have, let's say, 12 minutes of commercials and then 47 minutes and 30 seconds of, fear-based situations and stuff like that. And then they'll have 30 seconds at the end where the dog gets saved out of the well. And I can't watch it. I can't do it. And so that's a big part, shutting off the fear. Get away from the fear. And you don't know who's putting that information out there. Shut off the fear.
Because it keeps you stuck.
It does. It's a cycle.
And it doesn't allow you to evolve into the direction that you came here to evolve.
No, absolutely.
Right. And what I love, Patrick, is everything that you're saying is applicable to anyone who's listening to this, because I think as people enter different decades of their life, they might think, oh, I'm too old for this, or I'm too this, or I'm too that, or I'm too many. But that's not the message that you're giving us. Is it doesn't matter, because once you step away and you take that mask off and you say, and you're vulnerable enough to put yourself out there as who you really are, age becomes non-existent. It becomes because you're standing in your truth and you're vibrating at the frequency that most aligns with who you came here to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like, a lot of people take these jobs and then all of a sudden 30, 40 years they're in a job they can't stand or whatever it is. And it's like, even if that happened, you can change right now. You really can, because that truth is always within you. It always, always, always is, because it's who you are. And so, like Louise Hay, as far as I remember, she was older, like in her 50s or 60s when she started Hay House and all that. So it's 60s, like
she started Hay House. Yeah.
Right. So it's just, it's incredible. You can change at any time, any place, and it's because it's always within you. You just have to have the courage to go for it. That's it.
Even if you have responsibilities or expectations, or you can always have that on the side, or you have to feed your soul.
Even if you have these, obviously it's life, right? You have all these different things going on, but you have to at least create the mental roadmap. Like that's where visualization comes in, because it can keep you alive. It can keep your dream alive. If you're working a job, like right now I'm walking dogs. Before that, I was working at a bagel shop and doing deliveries at night. And then I was working in Times Square. Like, you have to keep your dream alive because it keeps you alive. And so visualization isn't just something that is a nice, pleasant thought. When you visualize, you're lining yourself up with that reality of what you want. And you just have to allow it.
Exactly.
Well, and you have to have the courage to allow yourself to visualize too.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, clicking off of the news and all of that stuff is so important, because it's not going to, you need to just take away, like, starve the fear, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, because the fear is just that, it's that, like, you're holding an umbrella up and you're not letting anything come in. It's just, it does nothing but keep you down. It keeps you stuck. And once you let that go, you'll start to see things open up.
I remember when I was right around your age. I think I was 27, not 26. And I bumped into a friend of my former husband's. He was a police officer. We were just standing downtown talking, and he said, 228 more days, and then you can congratulate me. And I said, why? What happens in 228 days? And he said, that's when I get to retire. 30 years I've been doing this job. And he said, I really didn't like any one of those days.
Oh, I know.
And I remember thinking, holy shit, like, I haven't lived 30 years. And he's already counting down 30 years. That was more than a lifetime for me at that point. and he worked a job he wasn't really crazy about. And I
Yeah.
just thought, God bless him, but please don't let that be me.
Couldn't imagine doing something that wasn't in alignment with who I was, even though right now, I'm just starting out and everything, but it already feels like it's happened, to be honest. To hear stories like that, you see it every day. It's like people miserable.
You do. I don't mean to disparage anyone who has done that, because that man did a service to his community for 30 years, and he provided beautifully for his family. There's so much to be said for that.
Right.
I just feel like it's inspiring to hear that you can start out this way young, or you can even just recreate yourself at any point.
Any point.
And it's that hope. Hope is that thing that perches in the soul and has wings. We have to always have that hope and that dream and get in touch with that passion and that inner sense of who we truly are and why we are really here.
Right. And I think this thing is infinite, and I think you can't get it wrong, and it's never gonna, stop. So, why not start now? You know what I mean? What's the worst that can happen? You go back to the non-physical, you start over. I don't know. I don't, it's just, you should just start, just start to find who you are. And that's the start. And like I said earlier, go back to that excitement, and things will start to click. You might have someone random call you that you haven't talked to in a while and say, hey, blah, blah, blah. And it might, it's amazing when synchronicity starts.
Yes, See, the key, though, I think for you, Pat, is you've always stayed open.
Yeah, definitely. I always have. I remember being 8 or 9 years old, and I swear to God, I was playing football on the street by myself. Like, I used to pretend I was Tom Brady or Drew Bledsoe, throwing the ball up to myself. And in that moment, I can go back to it right now. I remember saying, what if thoughts could create things? It was so crazy. And I've always gone back to that. It's like I knew something then, because we create our life at every single second. It's not a question of, if you can manifest something. It's you're manifesting everything every single second.
Yeah. A lot of people don't think about that.
Yeah.
We manifest the negative just as easily as we manifest the positive.
Everything is a manifestation, and you're the controller of it. Just so take a look at the manifestations, and that's what your vibration is at, so.
Well, it's like what you said earlier in the hour, where you said our life is just a reflection of who we are inside.
Absolutely.
If you think the world is fearful, the world is fearful.
Yeah.
If you think the world is wonderful, the world is wonderful.
Definitely. Yep. And it's how, so another thing too that's very important, just in, if this resonates, there's no situation that has built-in meaning. So if you get in a little car accident or something like that, and that's awful, that's terrible, blah, 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 or if something gets stolen from you, this is awful, this is terrible. That is just your belief about it, right? So you don't know, if you stay open in something like that happens, stay open, because the more open you stay about it, the more a positive situation can come from it. So we all hit resistance at certain points. So when something like that happens, you shouldn't look at it like it's a negative thing, because there's no situation that is inherently negative or positive. It's the meaning you give it, and that's what you're going to get out of it.
Well said. There's an old story about two angels that visit this old couple that live on a farm, and the old couple are so nice. They don't know they're angels in disguise, and they feed them and give them lodging for the night. And in the morning, they wake up and discover that one of their prized cows has died, and they are very, very upset. And the two angels are walking away, and one angel says to the other, "That couple was so nice to us. Why did you kill the cow?" And the angel says, "I was sent here to take the wife, but she was so nice to me, I bargained for more time for her and took the cow in her place." And I love that story because it just reminds us that, you can look and think, oh, why did my prized cow have to die? But who knows, maybe something not, maybe something more tragic was supposed to happen.
Right.
But when you assign that meaning to it, you lose the value
100%.
of that experience.
Yeah, you do. Absolutely. So I just truly feel that, and it's important because, you're in charge. You're creating your reality, and why not create a
I have
beautiful?
no doubt that we're all going to see your name up at Madison Square Garden one day. Do you, Denise? I have no doubt.
Oh, no doubt.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Um,
It's definitely happening. Well, we thank you so much for spending this hour with us. It's been inspiring and enlightening and motivating too. Gosh, for me, for instance, I'm gonna try to meditate twice a day. Everybody
Yeah.
pray that I have time to do that. I
Yeah.
think that would be. I always try to pray into my day and pray out of my day, but to actually sit down and meditate for 20 minutes twice a day, I think that would be amazing.
Yeah.
We're going to put links to all your social media, website, and all of that information on our Facebook page and in our show notes. We're also going to link some of your songs on YouTube to our Facebook page. So if you all want to hear Patrick doing his thing, it's beautiful. I cannot tell you guys. I was playing his demo while I was cooking dinner for my girls, and they were in their bedrooms studying and whining because they all have midterms this week, and they all wandered out and said, "What is that?" And it was wonderful. We sat around the dinner table and played your music, and it was great. Each girl liked a different song for a different reason. It was really cool. It's like it spoke to each of them. So
That's
we'll
awesome.
post as many of those as we can on our Facebook page, and we really hope that you all check it out and listen to Pat, because you'll feel his beautiful message in his music. I promise you that. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to hearing more of your music as it comes out. I know you're updating your website as we speak, so I hope there's going to be more of your music on your website too.
Yeah, that's so. I really appreciate this. I had such a good time, and you two are awesome. And keep on spreading your light, because it's just, it's gonna shine, and we're all gonna see it. That's for sure. So thank you.
Oh, right
Thank you,
back
Pat.
at you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. We will see you next week with another exciting show. In the meantime, don't forget to show up, do great work, and share your light. Goodbye, everyone.